Hey everybody, welcome to Ellis Mowers. I appreciate y'all watching the channel as always. We have a first official video in the garage overhaul. I have not, I hinted at it on the channel in one of my past videos. You've seen a little bit of it on Instagram and Facebook. It's done, and I will have a special coming up at the end of the year 2022, 4-part series about everything that I did in this garage to overhaul it. And you'll see that coming up. You'll see snippets of it here in the next few videos that you see on the channel before then. And I know a few folks are looking forward to that. I hope you all enjoyed that series coming at the end of the year to round out 2022. Now we'll go on to one of my longer duration partners here on the channel, Hipa. They have sent me a carb kit for a Stihl FS85R Weedeater. These a lot of times have the issues with the diaphragms going out in the carburetors. They get soft, and the issue is when you go to prime it, you don't pull a lot of gas up through the primer bulb, and then eventually it'll get to where it doesn't want to run very well either. So this is where this one was at. I already replaced the head on it. It was running okay when I replaced the head on it for the customer, and then before I sent it back to him, I tried to start it and it didn't really want to run very well. So Hipa has sent me a carb kit, and what we're going to do is put it on this FS85R trimmer here in this video. So let's go ahead and get started. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, Ellis at ellismowers.com, or at ellismowers09 on Instagram and Facebook. Let's get everything tore apart here and put it back together. All right, let's get right into it. I gotta show you all the carb kit. We'll get to that in just a second, but we'll go ahead and take the air filter and stuff off of this. You can see the air filter's been fairly rough. It's ready to be retired. You can feel the grit and stuff on it as well. Just a couple of 8mm. We'll get that off. Let me grab that. We'll open this box up and see what we have to replace here. Well, you know when you think you hit the record button and you didn't? This is what just happened. I got everything off. Let me do my best to explain the process to y'all. I will put this carb back on, at least show y'all what needs to be done here. Alright, so what you've got is you have gaskets on both sides of this top plate here. You had your air filter housing. I took my 8mm off, took off the air filter housing, took off the gasket in front of this, took this plate off, took the gasket off behind this plate, and then that exposes the carburetor. I took a pair of needle nose pliers, pulled off the fuel line. The return to the tank goes in the front. The supply line from the fuel filter goes to the back. I took a very small screwdriver and got these little rubber grommets out of there, and then was able to pull the line up. And then when I was able to get the fuel filter kind of near the edge of the tank, I took some bigger angled needle noses, I think they're called fuel line pliers, and was able to pull the line up from the tank here, just right here on the bench. Then to take the carb off, you just kind of have to press the primer bulb down, get it underneath this. You can take this off with a couple of screws, you don't have to. And then you're good to go when it comes to having everything off. There is a gasket on the inside of this carburetor, so we're going to go sort through the gasket sets here and see if we have one for that. We have a couple of generic gaskets here, which we might have to use on it. Looks like one of them will work just fine here on the new carburetor. In terms of the new carburetor from Hipa, what you get are a couple of gaskets, an air filter and a pre-filter, a couple of primer bulbs, a couple of fuel grommets, an air filter cover, rubber fuel line, a couple of fuel filters, spark plug, and carburetor proper. So that's what you got going on. We'll just be able to stick this thing back on, push the primer bulb back in, and be good to go here in just a second. So that's the process. I need to drain the gas tank out, and we'll get right back to it. And we'll show you the assembly process in full, pending I hit the record button. Alright guys, let's start putting everything together here. We'll start off with the carburetor. Get that kind of in place. The gasket that I'm going to use, just make sure it goes over that hole in the carburetor. We'll probably just go ahead and put that on. And then we'll slide the carb on. I'll tell you what we're actually going to do first. We're going to cut these fuel lines to length so that I know the length that I need. So let's just cut the fuel lines, like I said, to length. First here real quick. So that's for the return line. Supply line, we need to cut a little bit longer because we got rid of some right about there. Okay. So that should be good. So now, I figured I'd go ahead and do this while I've got all the junk off here. We'll put these new rubber grommets in. We'll put the lines through them at least. I figured it'd be a little bit easier to put them through these grommets while I've got them out. It's a tight fit, guys, that's for sure. See if I can get some pliers to get it through there. This is the type of fit that you want on your fuel lines, though. The tighter the better, but man, it can be a bear to try and get them in, that's for sure. See if I can get them to twist around and twist through there. They're going slowly but surely. I'll work on this, because what it is that the diameter is a little bit smaller with the bigger lines, and that's going to cause a lot of resistance trying to get this through. So I'll work on this. I'll get the lines right and we'll continue here. Alright, I got the return line. I'm working on the supply line now, and all I did was spray a little bit of WD-40 here in between the grommet and the line, and just kind of working my way with some needle nose pliers to get it through to the bottom. And eventually get it down past the bottom here. Once you can do that, you can grab it with the pliers and then just pull it through. In theory. There we go. So we got to get this one most of the way through. It's going to take a little bit of pulling here. It's probably close. And so now what we've got to do is, once we get it in here, we've got to feed it up, grab it with some pliers, pull it up through the front here of the gas tank inlet. Alright, so just like that, grab one of our fuel filters. Okay, we'll just pop it in. I'll tell you what, this line right here is tough. There we go. Get it nice and snug in there. And we'll slide it through so that it kind of rests on the other side of the tank. Once we can get it kind of, there we go, moved around like that. And then once we've got that done, you can easily, very gently with a screwdriver, pop these grommets into place. Just kind of work it around a little bit. You got to apply constant pressure on the tank grommets, or on the tank and the grommet. Just kind of work it around. Let's see, we'll go on this side here. And you'll know when you get it, because it'll just pop right down into place just like that. So that is our supply line. That goes on the back of the carb. The return line will go on the front. So now we'll take the carb. I've got that gasket in there already. We're going to put this carb in. And remember, we got to get it kind of under this little orange plastic piece. So it's going to take a second for us to work it under there. Just have to push that. Ooh, wrong way. Push that primer bulb down. Your adjustments are on the back. Your fuel lines are toward the front. So if we just press that down, press it through, and you're good to go. So remember, the supply line is in the back here. We'll slide it on. Ugh. These rubber lines have some good grip on them, that's for sure. And then the return line up top here, maybe a little bit tricky, but we'll get it. I pulled it a little bit too far, but I figured it'd be easier for me to pull it back up as opposed to try and pull it back down through the tank. So we'll slide that into place. Might need to use pliers for this, just because there's not much working space without that. Cover off, but you can do this without the cover, without taking that cover off. So we've got them up in there. So now it's just a matter of putting everything back on. Make sure all your clearances are good. You have one gasket that needs to go. It doesn't really matter what gasket it is, just a gasket to go there. We will have to, unfortunately, reuse one of these gaskets, but it's on the air. It's on the air side, not after the carburetor, between the carb and the intake. So ain't really got to worry too much about it. We'll put the plate in. This is the top. That's on the inside. This is on the outside. Just like that. We'll put another gasket on right here, and then we'll get our air filter cover, or air filter base, which will go right there. Our 8mm. Will go in like so as well. Could either just very gently nice and tight. You have your air filter and your pre-filter. Something that they don't give you, or something that you don't commonly see in carb kits. Thank you, Hipa. And why not just use the new air filter cover while we're at it too, huh? Get a nice tight fit. Let everything slide in there like it's supposed to. Oop. That pre-filter might cause a little bit of an issue, we'll see. fit on there very well. Let's see if this one of those pre-filters having issues. Is what's causing the issues, at least. It goes under like this. We'll put it on top. Oh, I got fuel line problems. Still not tight like I want it. Let me see how the other one fits. Yeah, the other one fits significantly better. So let me see if I can fit it on there with the pre-filter. It's not necessary. So that air filter cover is a little questionable, but the rest of it's fine. There we go. Much better fit. It just didn't want to, this aftermarket one just didn't want to fit very well. It happens. Everything else seems fine though. Let me grab some 2-cycle mix and see if we can get this thing. Oh, we need to put the throttle back on. I almost forgot. So this can be kind of tricky if you're not careful. I don't know if I can even show it to y'all. It's a tight fit on this side right here. We're gonna get the throttle in the down position where there's a little bulb circle thing. I don't know exactly how to call it, but that you've got in there. And we've got to grab this throttle cable somehow. And all we gotta do is grab it. Take it down here. Get it. Like I said, this is a little tricky because that throttle cable moves. Some. You got to get it in that arm there. Easier said than done. So I will put that in there and we will fire this thing up. Alright, so what I ended up having to do, I don't know how well I can show this to y'all on camera, but that little throttle thing that I'm moving right there, that's where your cable goes. It's a little, one side has got like a circle or like a bulb or whatever you want to call it that it slides into. This throttle cable has an end on it, slides into. That has to be pointed down. What I ended up doing is I had needle nose pliers in one hand and then my finger on the throttle in the other hand, and ended up just pushing the throttle up and I was able to slide that throttle cable in. So that's what we've done. I'll button it all up now and we'll start it. Time to start it, guys. Let's see how well it primes and then we'll see how well it runs, hopefully. It is priming better. Let's see, starting, choke. That's better. Can't ask for much better than that, I don't think. It's running, I think, just a tad rich whenever you got it under full throttle. That's okay in my opinion, because it's probably it's not really going to bog out too bad whenever you've got it in thick grass or whatever. If it's calling for more gas under more load, it has it available. So I'm going to go and test it out some on some areas that I need to weed eat, and then I'll come back and we'll do we'll wrap this video up. I had to do a tiny adjustment to the low side and the high side because it was trying to cut off and choke out. But you can see it's running good now. Idling nice and low. Not bad for an old Stihl FS85 Pro, huh? So that is it for this video. I want to thank Hipa for sending me the carburetor kit, and hope you all enjoyed the process of putting this together. It's really not terribly hard of a process. Hardest part about it was really just putting them fuel grommets, the fuel line through the grommets there. So thank you, Hipa, for sending me the product for me to try. If you are interested in this product, I have it in the description below. And we got another one fixed. The first one fixed in the new garage setup made it a lot easier and a little bit quicker. We were able to work on the workbench, which was good. A lot more projects to come in this garage. A lot more Hipa carburetors to come in this garage as well. They've been a great partner here for the past year at this point, and have fixed probably about 15 machines that I have, which is excellent. So again, thank you all again for watching. If you have any questions about this video or any of the process of this carburetor replacement, feel free to reach out to me, Ellis at ellismowers.com, or at ellismowers09 on Instagram and Facebook. These Hipa carburetors seem to be a good alternative to buying OEM or rebuilding. You can get it done in and out in about 20 minutes, which time is money around here. And like I said, every one of them that I've fixed have fixed and they haven't come back, so it means they're at least working for folks. So have a good one, guys. I'll catch you on the next video. See you then.